Hello, welcome to Matt's QCs. Today we're going to be taking a look at version control in Playcanvas. So if you don't know what version control is, it's a fairly common system used in most game development platforms or even software in that matter. In this case, Playcanvas is a browser-based tool or framework. So they have actually provided us with our very own version control system, so that way we can easily manage our different changes and then help us work better when we're working in a team and just help us in the process in general. So in this case, to get to the version control program, you can go up to here. Typically it would be called master. Or if you like, you can just do Control S on your keyboard to automatically bring it up. That will start a checkpoint, however, so close that. Alright, so to start off with, this here is our version control tool. And typically when you start off with this, these will all be empty. You won't have anything in here except for maybe a initial commit, which will be called initial checkpoint of branch master, and then specifying when it was done and so on. So in this case, you can see that I've been working on this, maybe once in a while. However, I haven't worked on it in a fairly amount of time. So you can even see the different changes that I've been doing. For example, it will say over here, change the close button image. I just misspelled it there. Fix building UI not scrolling properly. Change button listeners to click instead of mouse touch, and then there's different messages specifying what I actually changed while I was working on this. So if we wanted to see what we changed in between each of these different commits or checkpoints, as these are referred to in Playcanvas, you can click on the view diff button up here, and then it will bring up little checkboxes on the right hand side, and then we can choose which checkpoints we want to actually get the changes between. So to start off with, let's find out what I have recently changed. So in order to do that, we want to start off with the current state. So we want to click that checkbox, that way it goes down here. And then we want to go and click the next one. So that way it appears here. So we want to compare our current changes with our previous checkpoint. And then we want to click compare. Once it's done, it'll bring up a new window for us showing the diffs of all the different files that were actually changed. So in this case, we're going through each of these different PNGs, and then there's another material change, there's a text atlas change, there's some textures. And then when we click on each of these, it will tell us what the changes are. So in this case, for this change here, we can see that on the master branch, the checkpoint that we chose, it did not have the compressed normals or the bases or quality. Now this is very uncommon for you to actually have in your change. This will be because Playcanvas released an update and they required us to add in additional features to some of our already existing objects. So that's why this is here. And then we can go and see our current state to say that these were created. So we can see that the changes that have been made is this was added. This was added in our latest changes. And then go to each of the different ones, even for like materials, it'll tell you that it was edited. Now, unfortunately, it won't tell you everything. It won't give you exact details on every single object. This is a very MVP system, just to assist us when it comes to making changes and prevent us making problems that we are unable to roll back on. So, and yeah, you can see like there's a bunch of these in here, even pretty much all the textures have been changed. So if we didn't want any of these, changes, we can close this, go back to the version control. We can actually do a rollback or a restore. So this is also known as a revert in some other version control programs. So we can actually click on the checkpoint that we want, and we can click restore, and then say, do you want to discard uncheckpointed changes? So this here is saying that any changes you have made will be gone. Essentially, they are all gone. So yes, I want to do that, and we say restore checkpoint. Now we can see that everything's actually different compared to how it was previously. So if we were to go back and do a diff, we can see that some of these are here, but the one thing that has actually changed is the material. That building material is no longer in here, but the rest of these are already here because these changes are required by Playcanvas. So these will always be created if you do not have them yet. So I'm just going to go and make a checkpoint on that. So click checkpoint and give it a description saying what actually changed. Playcanvas updated compression. Sure, why not? Usually it's best to create better checkpoint messages than that, but that's not very descriptive at all. And here we go. We can see that we now have a checkpoint with the description I made, the time that it was done, and of course the same that it was made today. So that there is pretty much all that you need to know for this. If you do want to take it a little bit further and you want to work on this with someone else, because you will have times where maybe you want to test out a new feature, or you don't want to be working on something which is permanent, then you can actually go and create a new branch. And in that case, you can actually go over here and click on your latest checkpoint and go new branch and type in a new branch. So let's say I wanted to add in a new building, but I don't want to commit to it yet. Then I can give a new branch name, which is going to be reflected up here. And let's say I want to add in a donut shop, for example. So let's go and say feature donut shop. And now you can name this any way that you like. There are no restrictions. Okay, so we're still in the same world that we were in before. And now up here, we can actually see that it says the branch that I just made called the feature donut shop. And then over here, yep, so we are currently in the donut shop. So we see there are no other checkpoints apart from it saying that we branch from master. So that there is saying where we previously branched from here. And then we can still go back to master and just take a look at all the different changes in there. But this little green thing over here is actually saying that we are in this branch for now. So if we actually go and make a change, and I can demonstrate how this works. So let's go to buildings. Oh, not actually in there. Let's go and find it. Here we go. Let's go to diffuse. And let's go and change it to something like a blue, something a bit obvious. That looks alright. Kind of reminds me of Dr. Seuss, but let's go forward. Alright, so let's do a diff and see what changes I made. And here we can see that we just changed the building material, and we'll say that it was edited. And unfortunately, it's not going to give us much more information for now, but in the future, there may be more updates demonstrating this. So if we were to close this, I want to checkpoint this for now and say buildings are now blue. Great, now we've got our checkpoint here. And now let's actually go and switch back to master, because I'm actually done with this donut shop now, even though we didn't actually make a donut shop. Let's just switch back to master so you can demonstrate, you can see how each of these branches works. So now we've switched back to master, you can see it up here. And now everything is back to this kind of pale red. So, and then we can come back here and say, oh, okay, yeah. And then donut shop, yep, we can still see donut buildings are blue, but we are currently in master at the moment. So if we wanted to go back, we could just easily switch back. Yep. So we can actually switch between these two different branches, and work on anything that we like, and if we don't want it, then we can just easily close this branch. So what I will do, should have actually done this before, that would have made it a little bit faster. Switch back to master. And now what I actually want to do is I want to merge these changes into master because I want these blue textures. So what I can do then is I can click on Donut Shop and do a do a merge into current branch. And then we can just be sure to always check this here. It's always just handy to make sure that you aren't merging over any changes that you are ever unsure of, because if you did not make a checkpoint, then it's unlikely that you would want those changes to come over. But that's why before you ever do a merge, you should always do a diff. Always do a diff. So let's cancel that and just do that diff first. There are no changes. Great. So now let's do that merge. Merge. Still check this and then do our merge. So what will happen here is, since we've done our merge, if we ever had any problems, like for example, we edited something in the master branch, and then we also edited something in this branch that we are merging from, then merging into, then we would actually come up with a conflict in here, and the conflict would actually tell us where the problems are. Now I'll do a demonstration of this, so that way you can see sort of how everything works. At the moment, what we have here are our changes that we want to merge into the master branch. So here we can see that we have one merge change, which is the building material. We can see it was edited. And then this is going to be the final result of what we will actually get. So if we were actually showing code changes in here, it would actually tell us what the code changes are, as well as anything else. So we can just confirm this with complete merge. Let's go to version control. And now we can see that we have actually merged that into our branch. And now we can see in the background we also have our blue buildings. So since we have our blue buildings, we no longer need the donut shop branch. Now I still want a donut shop, but I can keep this and continue working in here, and then just merge the changes over when I have finally done that donut shop. But for now, I'm not going to work on this, and I don't want anything in here that is just going to fill up this list and make it harder to find the branches that I actually want. So I'm actually going to click on this, and I'm going to close the branch. Now, here we need to type in the name, feature donut shop, and we want to discard the changes. And close. And there we go. We no longer have the donut shop branch. We can still access this here. However, we do need to click out and click in. Sometimes this won't actually populate, so you just need to click around, just refresh this window. But if we do want their donut shop, we can just click up here and we can go to close branches. And then here we are, we can still see that branch, and we can still reopen it if we want to. However, I'm just going to keep it closed for now. Alright, so let's go and create a conflict, so that way you can sort of see how it works and how we can resolve it. So over in the master branch, I'm going to change the prices of these houses just on the entities themselves. So we've got these at 10, 20, 100. Let's go and change these, that way there's something a little bit more linear. Like that. It could be 160 actually. That way they just double every time they get a little bit taller. So there we go. Great. So now if we go over to the donut shop that I have reopened. And then let's go and change these to something else. So we changed this one to 40 last time. So let's just change this to something a little bit more ridiculous. So let's say like 200 and then 400 and then 800. So this could be me changing it, or this could be someone else that is also working on this game, but they're working in a different branch and they are also making the same changes. So we've now made these changes in two separate branches. So we can actually try and merge these over, but of course, what I want to do is make a checkpoint first. Temporarily adjusted changes, because this is more or less just a test. Now let's also go over to master, and we want to also checkpoint that, because we are going to be doing a merge, so we want to make sure we are doing that checkpoint before we do a merge. Building prices are now linear. Alright, so now I want to merge in the changes from the donut shop, and we have made a checkpoint on both of the branches, so now there are no changes left between either of them. So what we want to do is merge, make sure that we check that, and now it's going to go, there's a conflict, oh no. So this is going to give us this brand new window. And this window is currently telling us what these conflicts are, because two branches made changes to the same thing and we want to merge these two branches. So we need to say what changes we want. So in this case, we can see in the main scene, which is the only scene that we actually have up here that we're editing, we had the base changes. So this one here looks like what it was. This one here is saying what the master branch is, so what we are currently merging the changes into. So we said that it was 110, we changed it to 80, it was 100 on this prefab, went from 100 to 40, this one here went from 1000 to 160. But on the donut shop, we actually put it to 400, then 200, then 800. So we can see what the changes are, and we need to specify which ones we actually want. So you can actually just click on them and decide which ones you actually want to keep. So we can actually do that and say we want this change, and this change. Or if we have way too many, we can just say I want to use everything from this branch, from the donut shop, because those are expensive. I want more money. However, this one here for me makes more sense. So I'm just going to click on this and then review merge. And then of course that's all done, everything's merged in, there are no additional changes, so we want to complete the merge. So version control. And here we can see we have a checkpoint saying that we merged the donut shop into master, same as what we did before, but we can actually do this. We can do a diff on that merge and see what changed. And nothing changed because we chose all of our changes. We took nothing from the donut shop, but we still managed to do that merge. So these two are kind of like linked up now. And there you go. There you have it. Hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment down in the suggestions, the comments with your suggestions. And see you next time.